protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor fires for the back of the end zone, and that ball is going to be caught for the touchdown by Brian Thomas Jr. What a throw and catch. He tiptoed along the end line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Fires deep downfield. Got a man. That's Brian Thomas Jr. 50 in the Colts territory. 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown, Brian Thomas Jr. Just went 85 yards.
He's a playmaker. That's what stands out to me. It's just not one thing. We all know these fans. I can't really point to his releases. Can't really point to how he comes out of his routes. He just makes plays.
Looking, steps up, fires to the back of the end zone. Brian Thomas Jr. Did he double catch it? Yes, it is. Touchdown. He bobbled it, but hung on. Brian Thomas Jr. has the score, and Jacksonville is taking the lead.
Yeah. He's only going to get better once he masters his craft as far as his stance off the line, and as far as come off the ball. You'll see in games to come, he'll get better, and even next year, he's going to be that much better than he is right now. Right now, he's just getting his feet wet and showing us what he can do. So I'm looking for this guy to be a big-time playmaker for us in the years to come, and I'm glad to have him part of the Jaguars.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday to you. This is Jaguars Today. We've got an EVP. We're marching through the offseason, Tony. We've got a quarterbacks coach. We have a wish list for general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. What more could you want on February 4th, huh?
I guess so, yeah.
What? Other than Myles Garrett to fall into our laps for a spare fourth-round pick.
I've heard he's available.
I don't know if he is. I heard he desires to be available. The Browns are saying otherwise, that they're not going to make him available, but I don't think he ends up here in Jacksonville regardless, for a variety of reasons. Jags have a decent pair of ends. I'm not saying Myles Garrett's not better, but he also wants to go chasing rings. And I'm not saying that the Jags can't win a ring, but from his viewpoint, and granted, you're going to trade for that guy if he's going to be a disgruntled, right? Like, I would think he's looking to go somewhere, sign a big money deal, and to what he feels is a contender. But if I am the Browns and I ultimately do trade him, I'm not certainly trading him in the division, probably not even in the conference if I can help it.
You'd rather not. Yeah.
Don't let it come back to haunt you so immediately. But anyway, that was some of the news of yesterday. Jags are hiring Spencer Whipple as their quarterbacks coach, Tone, who's worked as the Cardinals passing game specialist. He's been with the Cardinals for about 6 years or so as a quality control coach, assistant wide receivers coach as well, and has been in the role of passing game specialist for the last couple of years. And I do believe this is who Liam Cohen referenced to Christian Kirk when we saw the little gathering in the Miller Electric Center, right? Some of the players showed up last week for his introductory press conference, and they kind of hugged it out afterwards. There was a little clip of that going around, and they were talking about Whipple, and, oh, yeah, I know, because Christian Kirk was there when Whipple was on the staff, and a little bit of foreshadowing that he might end up here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and now it sounds like he's going to wind up here in Jacksonville, and the coaching staff remains really young, but that's obviously the direction they're going with it at this point. That's just the reality of it. We'll see how that works out for him.
Maybe we'll get a Ron Rivera in, maybe we won't, somewhere on that staff. I don't know. But
I don't have a big issue with it being as young as it is, but it is the direction they're going, and we'll see how it works.
Look, it's all well and good. Everything they do is all well and good until they start playing games, right? And then you're going to get judged on wins and losses. So go with your vision and the way you believe that Liam Cohen's got as much goodwill as he might ever have here in the city of Jacksonville. He's certainly starting off in a good place, primarily because Trent Baalke's not here anymore. And we don't know who the GM is going to be, but there are as many as 6 candidates right now that the Jags have requested interviews with or have indicated that they are going to interview. Bears assistant general manager Ian Cunningham, Giants assistant GM Brandon Brown, Bucks assistant GM Mike Greenberg, which of course would be hilarious, pulling another one from the Buccaneers, Chargers assistant GM Chad Alexander, Bengals senior personnel executive Trey Brown and Tony Boselli indicated that they will give Ethan Waugh, the interim general manager, an interview for the job as well. Hopefully I'll be honest with you, hopefully it's a courtesy interview. Again, Ethan Waugh may have brilliant ideas apart from Trent Baalke. For the full feel-good feeling for this fan base, what I want for them is to feel like they've made a clean break from the past. And Ethan Waugh is part of that recent past. And again, through no fault of his own necessarily. But anyway, we'll find out. My guess is that will end up being a courtesy interview. I hope that they're casting a wide-ish net. It seems like a lot of candidates for GM. Jags, one of the few openings out there on the offensive coordinator front as well. Mike Clay of ESPN tweeting out, he's got a chart that's tracking NFL head coaches, offensive coordinators, play callers, defensive coordinators, and general managers. The openings, the Saints have their head coach, OC, and DC open because they haven't hired a head coach yet because they reportedly are waiting on Kellen Moore. The Jags, the only other team with a major opening right now, which is good in a way because you don't have to rush. It's not like, well, if we don't get this guy right this second, we're going to lose out to him. I suppose you could argue that, if Kellen Moore gets the job next week and he moves quickly, he can take your preferred offensive coordinator candidate. But I think if it gets to that point, then he may not have been your preferred candidate or you may not have been his preferred destination. I would hope that is settled prior to Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, and look, when Shad Khan was asked about a timeline for this a couple of weeks ago, he said, look, we basically have until the Combine to figure out who the GM is. Right?
Correct.
Like, they have to figure that out by the Combine, or else I don't think they're allowed to hire a GM until after the draft.
Which is weird. Is that why is that rule? Is it because they're afraid you're going to pull someone from another organization that close to, decision-making time for the draft?
I don't know, but I know that's kind of the deadline that teams that don't have a GM hired yet at this point are having to deal with, but it's not. It's obviously not going to be an issue.
By weeks.
Yeah, they got a couple of weeks to figure all that kind of stuff out, and it certainly feels like the ball is rolling now in the direction of, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this weekend, going into this weekend, we know who the GM is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, I don't think this process is going to be all that long now that they were already down to 5-6 names that they're going to be considering for the job. They'll figure this out relatively quickly, but it's going to be a few more days before we see it.
And I don't know, the focus has been on filling out the coaching staff, and OC is still the big domino to fall. But, I think by having Tony Boselli in the EVP role, not that Liam Cohen's not going to have influence and say, maybe Liam Cohen sits in on the interviews. I don't know what their structure is going to be as far as that goes. But, this is what I envision a big part of Tony's role should be. Coming up with the names of the people that they should be even talking to, right? Like, where does Shad Khan go for his advice? And Shad Khan listed a bunch of guys who were on the current coaching staff or the recently fired list in the case of Doug Peterson. This was just a few weeks ago. And so when you say, all right, we're going to replace Trent Baalke, all that's well and good. What's the list you're working off of at that point in time? Well, this list, some of them, like Ian Cunningham in many corners has been described as a rising star in the front office ranks, just a matter of time. I would imagine that's the case with a lot of these guys, just a matter of time until they get their opportunity. It looks like one of them will get their first opportunity to be a full-time GM here in Jacksonville coming up. But maybe this, Tony is able to take a little bit off Liam Cohen's plate in terms of that kind of stuff. I don't know what the dynamic is right now, but we'll hear from Tony. Tony was with Action Sports Jax. He was also on The Drill this morning, and we'll hear some of what he has to say about how he's going to handle his new assignment and how that, where everything fits in now with the decision-making process with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we got that coming up for you today. Keep our ear to the ground in case there's any breaking Jaguar news on the hiring front. But today, Tony, it's Tuesday, and our question of the day, we do it in the offseason, the Tuesday top 5, and we told you yesterday that we're going with your top 5 wish list for the 5th pick in the draft, meaning anybody could possibly be there, right? Really, the only couple of guys that are unlikely to be there are Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. There may be another one go, right? There may only be one quarterback in the top 4, so maybe a Mason Graham goes or a Will Campbell. We've seen all these different guys mocked up there. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Maybe one of those or even both of those two players I mentioned are sitting there, depending on what teams feel like their needs are and what their desires are to get done. So we left this one open to you. In the past, we've kind of said, other than this guy, who's certainly not going to fall out of the top spot. But today, just your top 5 wish list, you can't trade down. So that's not an option. So if you reply, trade down and pick up more value, I get it. Because trust me, where do you see my mock draft for the week tomorrow, Tone?
Yeah.
Almost didn't have a first-round pick. I traded back so far. but I ended up with a boatload of second and third rounders, let me tell you. So I kind of like that strategy, the way things worked out for this draft. So hit us up today with your lists of 5 players and tell us why. Like, who is the, you don't have to make a pitch for all of them, but tell us who the apple of your eye is at the top of the list and why you think that's the best fit for the Jags, the dream scenario if that player's available and no trade back materializes. I hope there is a reasonable trade back. The Jags could use a lot of resources. And, if they fall in love with a player at 5, I'm fine with that as well. They've got a good amount of draft capital compared to most teams with the extra second and third rounder this year, a big part of that as well. So hit us up today, 641-1010 on the phone lines, or same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat or on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Good morning, young Dylan Denmark. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. I'm doing good. Did you see where they had the Radio Row yesterday on Albert Breer's tweet last night?
I did not see Albert Breer's tweet. I mean, I've been to Radio Row a bunch of times, so do tell. What was the...
It was in a parking garage.
Radio Row's in a parking garage?
Yes.
Why'd they do it in a parking garage?
In New Orleans?
Yes.
In a parking garage?
Yes. The Super Bowl first. The media workroom is located in Row D of the Superdome parking garage. I would say it's a pleasant breeze up here.
That is really weird, right? Like Row D of the Superdome parking garage. That's the media workroom, or is that Radio Row?
It says media workroom.
Yeah, media workroom is different than Radio Row.
Mm-hmm.
They have that. That's just like, it's funny too because, like the print guys or the people who write, the writers usually are the ones who are in the media workroom because, if you are a broadcaster and you go in there, you're editing sound, you're doing whatever, you're going to bother people. But it's so funny how sometimes they don't want you, like, you can't have a bottle of water out of the media workroom. You can take one from the other side of this door, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're really funny about things like that. But they've got the convention center right there.
Yeah, it's right there. And I was opening night, I was like, it had to be at the Superdome. Like, it had to be at the Superdome. Why wouldn't it be at the Superdome?
What's funny is they got TV set up and everything.
Inside the parking garage.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. I don't know. Obviously, we're not there this year. I wonder, I'll be honest, this is the way it went down last year. We were going to go back. We took a couple of years off, and we'd always go. And there are different levels of credentials. There are, game day credentials, get you into the actual Super Bowl. And then there's week of game credentials, and that's usually what we would rely on. But still, our station would typically get one game credential. And so we didn't go for a couple of years with COVID going on and everything was changed. And so we thought, all right, let's go back last year and get back into the groove of it. And then we got 1 week of game credential for the station. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't run a radio show with one person on remote like that. You know what I mean? And Chase, it kind of defeats the purpose. So I don't know, Tone. I may have, that ship may have sailed for me at this point in time. Like, hey, if the Jags ever make it back, everybody that has any loose affiliation with
taking the whole
10XL is going. I mean, everybody is going to that. But I did 14 Super Bowl radio rows in 15 years. I did the first one in Jacksonville. Didn't go to Detroit the next year and did the next 13 in a row. So, I don't know. My time may have come on that, Tone. And I'll be honest, I was listening to a national show yesterday. They're like, yeah, we're rolling in Wednesday. And that's becoming more and more popular, which is in part why they moved the commissioner's press conference to Monday to entice some of the national media to show up and cover Roger Goodell's presser, which used to be on Wednesday. And really, Monday and Tuesday, of course, Tuesday was media day. Then they moved that to Monday night. And the schedule is just being altered to try to get more media there earlier in the week. That's all it is. They want to maximize coverage as if the Super Bowl doesn't get enough media coverage.
No, it gets obviously plenty of coverage.
Gets more coverage than any event in this country, sports-wise, for sure.
I mean, whatever it is, it is. Last night was opening night at the Super Bowl, and I don't have any idea what anyone said anywhere.
Jameis Winston gave a W to Travis Kelce.
Right, I paid.
Did he eat it?
So little attention to what happened at opening
Would you
night.
lick Jameis's fingers if he held them up in the form of a W?
It was like a plastic magnet, like a kid's how they have like the alphabet on like the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
It was like one of those.
All right,
things.
I'm with you, Tone.
I was always. It was fun to cover opening night because we were talking to a bunch of guys that there wasn't always all that much interest.
There's always an
talking
angle,
to,
right? Is there a guy from Jacksonville or a guy who played for the Jaguars or a guy who went to the University of Florida?
It's Malik Jackson. It's like, well, he's a free agent. Let's least
talk to him.
A bug in his ear about Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
Going
Jack
into
Del
free
Rio
agency.
is there. Let's talk to Jack.
Those kind of things are always fun on opening night. I do remember New Orleans was the first Super Bowl that I did, right? So I was there.
Is that right? Was that the pub crawl Super Bowl?
That was the pub crawl
Really?
Super Bowl was there in New Orleans. And the next day after the pub crawl was opening day. Like they was still during the day at that point on that Tuesday, right, of the week. So I went in there, and that was Ray Lewis with the deer antler spray.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was that Super Bowl where no one was anywhere else except at the podium where Ray Lewis was going to be.
We were like 40 feet from him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, honestly, on the other side of the glass, we're like, what is going on out there on the sidewalk? We're like right inside here. I don't think we went and covered the deer antler spray thing.
No, we were like, they're doing, the deer antler spray thing, guys.
Don't get me wrong.
Get your questions in, yeah.
For years, I love being able to sit down. We sat down with the best of the best of the old timers, right? And it was a lot of fun. But it's getting harder even to do that as it goes by.
Well, they used to all be walking around the room, and then they started giving like 10 or 15 guys a podium now, and you're not going to get anywhere close to those
for that,
guys.
and just the week of as well. Like the podium stuff, it's going to be online within 30 minutes, with better quality audio than if I'm trying to hold the mic up to Travis Kelce and asking him, how many more years am I going to have you on my Dynasty Fantasy team, Trav? That's what I'm here for. All right, let's take a time out here. We will go through the countdown today. You can jump in, talk any aspect of Jaguar football from Tony Boselli, being the EVP. We'll hear from Tony coming up here shortly. Your top 5 wish list for the number 5 overall pick, presuming that anyone's available to you and you can't trade out of the spot. Who are the 5 players that most entice you with that 5th pick today? And we'll keep an eye out on the Jags offensive coordinator and GM searches as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You want a company that delivers on its promises? Man, does Awaken 180 come in the clutch. They're going to promise you that if you set a goal weight and follow their program, you're going to hit that goal weight. In terms of losing pounds, no problem whatsoever. But the big key is with Awaken 180, once you hit that goal weight, all coaching and support you get from them is free from that point on for the rest of your life. Just maintain that weight. They're going to help you do it. They're going to give you a program and a methodology to follow to do it, and you're going to be able to maintain that weight loss better than you have under any other lose weight, quick fad diet or any medication you've tried. I mean, those medications, you watch them on TV. Look at the fine print. It's right there on the screen. You're going to gain all that weight back as soon as you go off that medication. Awaken 180 can show you how to change your eating habits to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. Lose the weight, keep it off. Schedule your free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because life is a competition. There's 1010XL, Jax Sports Radio.
Roll with Hard Rock Bet for Big Game 59 because we're rolling out over $5.9 million in bonus bets. The big game kicks off Sunday in New Orleans, but get your share of Big Easy bonus bets now so you can place more bets on us instead of using your own cash. It's the big game rollout. $5.9 million in promos only on Hard Rock Bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
This Black History Month profile is brought to you by McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Jacksonville native and Pro Football Hall of Famer Harold Carmichael played his high school football at Raines and was an all-conference receiver at Southern University. And in 1971, Carmichael would be drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, having a stellar career. He would set an NFL record for catching a pass in 127 consecutive games while leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl appearance. And in 1980, would become the NFL's Man of the Year for his work off the field.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
National Signing Day is Wednesday. Who's going to the Gator Swamp?
What's going to happen?
Find out who's heading to your school. Catch Decision Day for college sports future stars. Opened by Baker Glass. No one treats you better on 1010XL.
Hey, this is David with Royal Pest Services. The fact that we've been bundled up the past month gave us an idea. Let's bundle up also with our Centricon and Pest Control bundle, starting at $349. Visit RoyalPestServices.com for your free inspection.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
Joe C. here. Tuesday, February 11th is a very special day in Jacksonville. It's JU Day. Join us as 1010XL broadcasts live all day long from the Kenny Center on the campus of JU. Incredible auction items available throughout the day to raise money for JU athletics.
Don't miss the big game specials at Southern Steer Butcher. Check out our website for the big game snack attack, party combo, sampler combo, and the best buffalo dip you've ever had.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, don't get some of the early returns on some of these. And we're going to hear a lot of the same names today, obviously. But there are some outliers that are being sent in. Like the first one, this is, I would call this usual suspects. This is from Jorge. He listed them 1 through 5. Mason Graham, Ted McMillan, Will Johnson, Abdul Carter, and Travis Hunter. Said he'd be happy with any of them. Just don't like the idea of overdrafting an offensive lineman with these talented players on the board. Well, that's to presume that the offensive linemen aren't as talented as those guys, which I don't know. I continue to see Will Campbell. I see Will Campbell sometimes like get mocked around 12, and then I see him go to the Patriots at 4 a good bit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if there's some kind of particular connection with him or they just need offensive linemen, but I do see that projected a good bit. Seeing some Ashton Genty in here this morning, Malachi Starks out of Georgia. We're going to get to some more of the interesting ones. There's some definite outlier ones that we'll get to later when we start our countdown of our top 5 wish list for the number 5 pick. But let's hear from Tony Boselli, first, the new executive vice president of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The guy who sent us the box of buttons asked if we needed more. Well, I don't know. Maybe they're collector's items now because it said Boselli for EVP.
It did, yeah.
He's already the EVP now. So, I don't know. You get a little piece of tape and cover that up right there if you want to. But, you can show your prior thoughts of support on that if you choose to. But, no, we're good. We don't need another box of them. Tony's got the job. But thank you for thinking of us. This is from Action Sports Jax. Tony Boselli speaking yesterday on being part of the organization now from all different sides as a player, a broadcaster, an advisor, now the executive vice president.
Well, I think it's pretty clear I'm supposed to be a part of this organization, isn't it? I mean, it started in 1995, and I kind of view it this role is probably the most similar to me playing offensive line here, is to help other people have success. And that's what I'm in this role to do. I was really honored that Shad allowed me to be a part of the head coaching search. That was a lot of fun, really interesting. It was exciting to get the guy that we wanted in Liam Cohen. And now to spend the last week with Liam and to really get to know him and start building a relationship. Man, I'm more convicted now than I was even then that he's the right guy. And watching him put together his staff and everything else, I am so excited about what we're going to see, not just this year, but years to come. I think we're going to build a team that is built for sustained success, but ultimately to win a championship. That's what we all want to do. And I'm just glad I'm a part of it.
I'll let it slide. In all seriousness, Tony should have a pretty accurate, critical eye when you're considering offensive linemen. Hey, if we're going to put the film together, we're considering 3 or 4 guys. Here are a couple of linemen in the mix, Tony. What do you think about their ability to play inside? Maybe, and really, Tony, I think the interesting thing about the linemen that are projected as potential, offensive linemen that is, projected as potential top 10 picks are that the top 2, Campbell and Banks and Campbell, at least that's the top 2 on a lot of lists out there. A lot of people project them to play guard, at least early in their career, which makes that pretty appealing to me, the idea of when maybe you draft a guy and he plays guard, and maybe he's great and you never move him there and you've got that position answered for the next 10 years. Or maybe 2 years down the road, after Walker Little's got only 1 year left on his deal, maybe one of these guys is ready to move into a starting role at a more valued position like tackle.
With where the Jaguars roster is right now, their flexibility to play guard, I think, is essential. With where the roster is right now.
If you're drafting a pure tackle.
Right. Like if you're drafting an offensive lineman at 5, they're going to have to play right away. Where are they going to play if they're a tackle? Right? If that's all they are, where are they going to play if they're a tackle? I'm not saying that they can't bump Walker Little inside again, that couldn't be the plan that they foresee.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that's going to work either. But I do think right now, if they're going to draft somebody at 5, even if it's listed as an offensive tackle, they have to have the flexibility to play inside, and I think that's a plus for them.
And you're seeing that, though, with the top couple of prospects that are mentioned there.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do this so we don't get behind. We got more from Tony coming up here. We will get to our countdown. If you want to get in, talk a little Jaguar football, you know the ways to do it. Spencer Whipple, the new quarterbacks coach, just awaiting an offensive coordinator and a few more staff positions, and, of course, the big GM hire. And hopefully they'll nail it and they'll get it right. But, we're going to be excited. I think whomever they hire, at least I will be, Tone, that doesn't make him the right guy, right? So I hope I hope Tony turns out to be the right guy. I hope Liam Cohen turns out to be the right guy. And they continue to make smart hires for this football team because that's what it's all about. It's not about projecting 2 or 3 years down the road. It's time to win is past time. And, if you're going to talk about a quick turnaround, nobody's going to be satisfied with a 6-11 kind of buffer season in Liam Cohen's first year at the helm. More of that coming up, 641-1010 if you want to get in. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. You hear me not only talking, but raving about Pella. I love what they've done to make my house more beautiful, to make it more energy efficient. Yeah, I had a golf ball crash through my living room window. That doesn't have to happen to you to get off your butt and head over to Pella and their showroom on Phillips Highway and check out their options with their professional design consultants that can guide you through your entire project from start to finish, whether you need to replace one door, one window, or the whole house like I did. PellaJacks.com online. Go with Consumer Reports' best company in all the major window categories. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Wonder what Jeff Prosser would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
I am an FBI agent. I know, man. Isn't it wild?
Jeff Prosser.
You know, in another life, you'd have made an excellent criminal. I won't rest until you all get 20 years in prison.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Before the Great American Race on Sunday, the high banks of Daytona heat up with a Saturday night showdown in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Experience the intense competition up close on the sport's biggest stage to kick off the 2025 season. The NASCAR Xfinity Series at Daytona International Speedway, Saturday, February 15th. Tickets start at just $49, and kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Secure your seats now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off and interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings in our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, here to share with you an actual client review.
Dude, these shirts are sick.
Check out the shirts and other sick promo items at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can stand, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can stand, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
1010XL celebrates high scorers.
1010XL and Southeast Orthopedic Specialists celebrate scholar athletes.
In class and on the court.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators. And by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash. so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Go to the green every Saturday morning.
Happy learned how to putt.
And get golf tips and talk to help make your golf game more fun on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, Jaguars Today. Tony Boselli, new executive vice president of your Jacksonville Jaguars. That news just about 24 hours old at this point in time. Came out during our show yesterday. I'm looking, Tone. Let's see if I can find a quick picture here of kind of headphones Michael Jackson was using, or Michael J. Fox was using in Back to the Future. I bet it's the exact pair I have on. Just thinking about it again today as I looked up in the monitor. Yep. Still wearing those today. All right. Dylan, by the way, have you tried your new earbuds?
I have not. They're still perfectly sealed.
All right. Perfectly sealed. Thanks again to JagFan15 on the X platform who sent us a box of those last week.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get those working here shortly, but at least a very nice backup for the fellas. All right, let's get back to Tony Boselli. By the way, appreciate everybody who takes the time to do a mock at Pro Football Network. But if you're sending it now today on the text line, it's going to get lost in the shuffle by tomorrow. Like by the time we get to them tomorrow, they're going to be so far down, we're not going to be able to scroll back and find them. So appreciate you doing them. Save those screenshots. Send them to us tomorrow morning while Jaguars Today is on the air, and we'll give you better consideration for the work you've done.
We're talking draft today, but not mock draft today.
Not yet. Right. And I see this, like I missed Gray Zabel in mine by a pick. I see somebody took Gray Zabel at 86. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to feel bad about some of these selections. Like Zabel now had a great week at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
And he's being talked about as a fringe first rounder.
Yeah.
Now, you can the mock draft simulators have not caught up to the realities.
Yeah, it's hard when you're doing a mock draft at this point and he's still there.
And you're like,
it's not like I'm not going to take him because I wouldn't have him there.
Right.
It is kind of a tricky situation, but okay.
So it is what it is.
You feel as good as you want about getting him in the third round.
And
That's fine.
I'm not knocking anyone for adding him if he's available in your
We've
mock.
all done it.
It's more a case of show us where you want to add the talent, what positions are most important to you. I'm telling you, I traded back twice, almost out of the first round, Tony. Ended up with 7 second and third round picks. Now, the Jags have 3 such picks right now, but added 4 second and thirds combined with a couple of big move backs. And I love, okay, so you don't get that one guy that everybody's been, whomever that is. And we're going to go through our top 5 list here coming up shortly. You won't get that one guy.
Yeah.
But man, can you stack your team with all those
for sure
second day picks.
Yeah, like Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas, talking about, Gray Zabel and where you're able to get him right now in some of these mock drafts. Matthew Golden is the guy that I think I got in the third round 2 weeks ago in a mock draft. I think, Dylan, you had him in the
third round last week.
And right now he's being talked about in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it's the
Matt
discussion
Miller,
has just changed.
Matt Miller's got him going 12th overall in his mock draft this week to the Dallas Cowboys. And with Ashton Genty on the board right there. So, that's a team that needs wide receiver as well, obviously. But you're right. I mean, so you look, we're going to go back and look at some of those first ones we did and go, man, if we could have really landed all these
Why
guys.
couldn't they just draft it that night?
We're so smart.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to Boselli here, the new executive vice president of your Jacksonville Jaguars. And good question. He appeared with Action Sports Jacks yesterday, was asked, will he pick Tom Coughlin's brain to get advice on taking on this overseer role with the franchise?
Yeah, listen, Tom is someone I respect and I played for, and he's meant a lot to me in my life. On the field, he's become a friend, but it's a different role. You know, it's not the exact same role. I think Shad laid it out very clearly what my role is. I'm not picking players. I'm not coaching. We're going to hire the best people for that. We got the best coach, we believe, and now we're going to go find the best GM. And my job is to support those guys. And I can be a sounding board. I'll give my advice as they need it, help them have success. That's my role, and I look forward to doing it.
Well, I hope he learned from Tom Coughlin that if you have thoughts about the players' participation in voluntary workouts in the offseason, you just keep them to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Tom made some public comments about how he expected guys to be here. Didn't matter if it was voluntary, and I'm paraphrasing it heavily here, but prompted the NFLPA to write an open letter saying you might want to think twice about signing with that team in Jacksonville. I mean, that's about as untenable a position as you can find yourself in if you're the owner, Shad Khan. I think he had to do something at that point in time.
And they wound up doing it.
And they did, right? So I think, hopefully everybody can learn from the past, even if it's not your own mistakes. Liam Cohen hopefully is studying first-time coaches and what made them successful and what he can lean into here, because he's got a lot on his plate, Tony, particularly if he goes with a young offensive coordinator, a guy younger than him, right? And now you've got a young defensive coordinator, a young offense coordinator. You're going to be a first-time head coach who is also calling plays, and you've got to run the entirety of the show and maybe look a little bit more over your defensive coordinator's shoulder than you would have otherwise if he had been a veteran of 3 or 4 seasons in that role.
And that doesn't even get into whatever responsibilities he's going to have beyond that, right? Like, we just don't know exactly how big his role is going to be in finding the new GM. All these different things that are going on within the organization, none of it has appeared to be too big to this point, right, for Liam Cohen. But all these things, the pressure of the decisions aren't really there until they start not working, right, in some way. And that's when the real pressure of being the guy who's going to be carrying the weight for that kind of stuff really shows up. Right now, it's honeymoon phase with all the decisions that the organization is going to be making. When 1 or 2 of them go wrong, then it's going to be what's he doing, right? Like, and that's going to be on field and off field because he's going to have a big role in each, obviously, within the organization.
I do feel like Jaguar fans are living in a world of extremes right now. Like, they felt like they had it the worst of the worst. Why do we have, in their words, not all of their words, but many of their words, why do we have an owner who doesn't care, who's checked out, is not interested, doesn't care about winning, just going to go with the lowest, hanging fruit, whatever's easiest, doesn't want to put in the work, all these different things that we heard. From that to yesterday, just looking at the list of GM candidates that they're interested in, the Jaguar fan reaction of, how do we turn into this super competent organization overnight, right? And now I do wonder, right? It's probably going to land somewhere in the middle of your highest and most fervent hopes and desires and the crushing apathy you felt just a few weeks ago when you thought Trent Baalke was here for the long haul.
No one intends for it not to work. That's why it's an unintended consequence, right? Like, you don't plan it like, this is going to fail. Go ahead with it, right? Like, that's not how these kind of situations work, but they're bound to be weak somewhere where we don't see it weak right now. Like that's just how it's likely to work out for the organization. Tony Boselli was also asked yesterday about what he's learned from the process that they've gone through in hiring Liam Cohen.
Yeah, it's different. I've been in the business world ever since I got out of football, and I've run businesses, led teams, and so I understand that part of it. Obviously, every organization's a little different. Every industry's a little bit different, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of that. I was honored that Shad allowed me to be a part of the hiring process, and as we had continued to have talks, and he felt it was like the right time to have this role, create this role, and asked me if I'd be interested in it. It was a no-brainer for me. As I told him, I said, I just need to do one thing. I need to talk to the boss, my wife, and make sure we're aligned. And as soon as she gave me the go-ahead, it was full steam ahead, and I can't tell you how excited I'm to be here and to continue to be a part of this organization, just in a new role, and really roll up my sleeves and work and help Liam and help our new GM and have success. It's going to be fun.
All right, last one here from Tony Boselli. We'll take you around the rest of the National Football League after that. Then we'll get to our countdown of our top 5 wish list for the number 5 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. What excites Tony the most about his projected role?
I don't know if there's any one thing. I think what I'm excited about is we're going to put together a team, an organization, a franchise, everything from what Liam does on the field to we have one of the, if not the best, one of the best, I think he's the best president over our business, and Mark Lamping, to partner with them. This is a great organization. We do a lot of things really, really well, top level. We have, in my opinion, an owner that is at the top of the list, the way he invests, the way he gives resources to the people to have success. Now we just got to translate that to wins on the field. And I think we talked about it at the press conference, or Shaw did. That's why Liam's here. And we have the utmost confidence and faith that Liam and his staff that he's putting together and the players that we'll put on that field are going to bring a lot of wins right here to Jacksonville.
Hey, look, I think the number one thing about Tony, we don't know if Tony's football acumen is going to be, up to the best minds in the business. I'm not saying Tony isn't a bright guy. He obviously is. He knows a lot of people around the NFL. His work around the league with Westwood One, put him in touch with a lot of teams. Probably been in a lot of production meetings, a lot of, pregame conversations on the sidelines, those kind of things. Tone, but I think it's Jaguar fans look at Tony and they know that he has this organization's best interests at heart. He
loves the Jaguars.
He's not a hired gun.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he is a hired gun, but he is a hired gun that would probably only pick that gun up in this uniform for this franchise.
He's not doing this anywhere else. It's only going to be in Jacksonville.
Right. And that he understands. I mean, he is part of the fabric as much as anyone has ever been of this organization. First ever draft pick, only Hall of Famer. Hopefully that'll change. In fact, let's hope it changes this week. With Fred Taylor at least being announced as an inductee, but we'll see about that. But I think people will probably live with some mistakes here and there. It's not like Tony's going to be making every draft pick here. He's going to have sway over who the GM hire is, and then by extension you can either praise or downgrade Tony's performance based on what the GM does in part, and that's all fair game. But I think they realize that Tony, every move he makes is, in their belief, we've got a guy who absolutely bleeds teal, and you and I think, have been consistent from the first moment he purchased the team. I've always thought Shad Khan cared about winning. Didn't take the right steps, or maybe didn't know what the right steps were to achieve that goal. But I don't think anybody's going to question Tony's commitment to advancing the Jaguars' cause. And that alone, having that guy around 365 as Shad Khan is, tending to a lot of other business, as a billionaire might do, it gives people a lot of peace of mind.
Well, it gives the fans the buffer that they've been wanting here for a long time. Like, that's what everyone felt when they brought Tom Coughlin back, right? It's like, this guy loves us, right? Like, we know how he feels about the organization, what he's been willing to do. Why he's coming back is because he sees an opportunity for them to get back to what they were doing when Tom was here the first time. He loves Jacksonville, right? Like, that's how fans felt. It's disappointing the way that ended the second time around for Tom Coughlin, for all the reasons that we've gone through over and over, since he took over that thing. But they haven't had anybody else in that kind of position to kind of be the buffer, the football buffer for what's going on in Jacksonville. Well, now they've kind of brought that back with Tony Boselli. And like you said, they couldn't have found anybody who loves the organization and the city more than Tony Boselli does, right? So from that perspective, fans are going to be very happy that Big Bo is going to be in that position. Does that mean he's going to be super successful doing it? No. But we know he's always going to be going in the same direction that the fans are going. When whatever happens, it won't be because Tony doesn't care, right? Like, that'll be the one thing you can't say about whatever happens with Boselli in the role. It's not going to be he doesn't care. It's going to be he tried. We don't know if it'll work or not, but we know he's doing it because he thinks this is the right direction for the franchise to go.
All right, let's take a look and find out what all the other sucker teams around the NFL are up to these days.
Now, gems around the NFL, Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston is hiring Los Angeles Rams tight ends coach and passing game coordinator Nick Caley as their offensive coordinator. Baltimore has signed offensive coordinator Todd Monken to a contract extension. Cooper Kupp released a statement on X this morning saying that the Los Angeles Rams are seeking to trade him. Washington Commanders controlling owner Josh Harris said on Monday that the team name Commanders is not going to be changing. Added later that talks are ongoing regarding a new stadium between Maryland, Virginia, and D.C., with 2030 being a reasonable target for an opening of a new home for the Commanders.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Tone. And they are an example of an organization that turned it around basically overnight. Of course, they had a big overhaul and nothing bigger than the quarterback position. You can talk all you want about ownership. I don't think that if they drafted Jaden Daniels that he would have failed if they were not under new ownership there in Washington. They just selected the right guy at the quarterback position and then put together a competent coaching staff and in many ways got out of his way and let him be himself and let him play the way he was capable of playing. Hopefully Liam Cohen and the staff he's putting together, including Spencer Whipple, can bring that out in Trevor Lawrence going forward. Time will tell. We'll get to our countdown. Who is he going to have to help him, Tony? Who's on our wish list or our wish lists for the top 5 or the number 5 overall pick? This is presuming anyone is available who's draft eligible this year at 5. Who would be the top 5 guys you'd be most interested in as of February 4th? Subject to change. Need I say that? The 2.5 months out from the NFL draft. By the way, tomorrow when we do Mock Draft Wednesday, Tony Pauline will join us from Sports Kita and give us his thoughts on the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl, among other things, and how some of these prospects are, I hesitate to say moving up the boards, but starting to crystallize a little bit better in the minds of the evaluators. Their spots,
yeah,
right? Like, boards are very fluid things at this time of year, draft boards, obviously. All right, let's come back and begin the countdown. Send us yours on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark. As we get into hour 2, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL's Dan Hicken dominated Folio Weekly's Best of 2024. Best TV sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports show starring Dan Hicken. 1010XL, the home of Dan Hicken.
February is Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Cancer Center will help you take charge of your well-being. Their new location at World Golf Village off I-95 now provides screenings for prostate, bladder, and colorectal cancers. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Attention homeowners, Chelsea here. For a limited time, Renewal by Anderson is making it easy to upgrade your home during our free window month. When you buy 4 windows or patio doors, you'll get 1 free. Our exclusive Fibrex material delivers the perfect combination of energy efficiency, durability, and style. Perfect for your home makeover this season. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Renewal by Anderson, the better way to a better window. Restrictions apply. See website for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Roses are red, violets are blue. A broken pipe? That's no way to woo. This Valentine's Day, don't let plumbing or HVAC problems ruin the romance. Whether it's a leaky faucet, a backed-up septic tank, or a heater that's colder than your ex's heart, Duck Rooter is here to save the day. Our expert team will fix it fast and at a fair price, so you can get back to the love you deserve. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckrooter.com.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jax Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hammond,
Valentine's Day is coming up. Got any romantic plans?
Dad, I'm married to Clean Air. My plan is to help Jacksonville families breathe easier.
You're helpless, but Clean Air does sound nice. Can duct cleaning really help?
Absolutely. Dust, allergens, even odors can build up in your ducts. Cleaning them now makes your air fresher and healthier for your family. The EPA says better indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So cleaning ducts are like Valentine's Day gift for the house.
Exactly. Forget chocolates. Fresh air lasts longer and doesn't melt. Plus, we've got a February special, $100 off your total.
All right, sign me up. Maybe fresh air will make Mom fall in love with me again all over.
You'll have to take her to dinner for that, but cleaner air will definitely help.
Fair enough. Jacksonville, if you're ready to show your home some love, Google Zerorez and read over 7,000 five-star reviews. Zerorez.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Zerorez. Zerorez.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high-volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
What are the only 2 states that do not observe daylight saving time? The answer next.
Having the right homeowner's policy protection means you're staying on top of your most valuable possession, your home. For information on finding an agent, go to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The only 2 states that currently do not observe daylight saving time are Arizona and Hawaii.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Advanced Business Solutions. The Jaguars' first ever draft pick, as well as the first Hall of Famer, Tony Boselli, was recently named as the Executive Vice President of Football Operations. Throughout his time and career, Boselli has devoted his efforts to helping Jacksonville reach a Super Bowl. With his new job within the franchise, he's more than excited than ever before to continue to build towards that.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I love this organization. I love being part of it, and this is just a new role. And it's a role I've thought about and dreamt about, and it's pretty exciting that Shad Khan gave me the opportunity to do it, and I look forward to being a part of it. And the goal is the same goal Shad talked about at his press conference when we introduced Liam. That's to go win football games and win a championship. That's what we're all striving for.
Courtesy of Action Sport Jags. It's 66 degrees at 10:57. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Oh, boy. I'm going to take this as somebody trolling here. I really hope that this is them trolling, Tony. On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Yeah, Tony Boselli loves the city so much he left for the Texans. I mean, you really got to be trolling, right?
I don't know how you wouldn't be.
I would hope that you're just trying to get me all worked up over nothing. I don't get worked up anymore. I just block profiles. I don't have to see you anymore. Tony Boselli getting selected by the Texans in the 2002 expansion draft was one of the greatest things that happened to the Jaguars. Tony couldn't play any more football and
didn't
never suited up for him. They took him in the first round of the expansion draft, enabling the Jags to pull back more players, which is how that worked. Like once a guy got taken from your team, every team had to expose X amount of players to the expansion Houston Texans. And once a guy got taken, you could pull a few more back on the list. Think about it. There's always 8 or 10 guys at the end of your roster that are probably interchangeable with what you turn over every year.
Yeah.
So you lose a couple of them. Not the end of the world with the setup that it was, but what it did was, if you recall, I know you do, Tone, the setup at the time, if you got selected in the expansion draft, you would go there. Your entire contract followed you. There was no dead cap money.
Right.
So the Jags were out of every financial obligation to Tony Boselli at that point in time, and the Texans never got a snap out of him. It's the only reason we ever reference it is to mess with Boselli. He's one of the great Houston Texans of all time, but and still may be one of the better ones who ever or never suited up for them. So I really hope you have a little bit more of a sense of historical perspective on that one, but maybe you don't. So there you go. All right, let's get to the countdown. Let's begin. Dylan, where are we at?
Number 1.
Are we going what? Are we doing? I think we're doing.
Is that how we're doing it?
No, I think we're doing 5-1. Let's start it again.
Number 5.
Number 5 sounds much better, Tony. I think that's what we decided on, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Do you want to do 1 or do you want to do 5?
5's fine.
All right, because we're going to end up in similar places.
Yes,
but
we will.
Whatever the case may be, give me your number 5 player and make the case for him.
Number 5 for me, Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. I have little expectation that he'll be there when the Jags are picking at 5, and he is at 5 on my list because of the very real questions that I have about where the Jags would play him and Hines Allen and Walker if they were to bring him into the building here in Jacksonville. But I'm trying to approach this as if the other 4 players on my list were picked. Who would I most want to be there at 5 for the Jags, right? So it's a ranking, like a rank order of what I would like to see happen for the team. I don't expect the other 4 guys I have on my list to all be taken. I think one of the 4 are going to be the guy that the Jags are going to wind up having the opportunity to go with. But if they did all go, if the first 4 players on my list went 1 to 4 in the NFL draft, Abdul Carter, given the kind of prospect that he is at a premium position in the league, you're picking 5th overall. I think he's a double, pretty sure, as we're talking about a couple weeks ago, like the Mason Graham thing, right? Being more of a double, right? In this draft, I think he's a double plus is what Abdul Carter feels like to me. And the only reason that I don't have him higher on the list is because of what they have at edge already here in Jacksonville. But if the other 4 guys go, I'd be very content with Abdul Carter.
So double plus is like he got the double, now he's trying to stretch it to 3, and here comes the throw, and we don't know what's going to happen.
I think he's a lot more
We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He may be safe. The throw may get away, Tony. We may get a Little League home run out of this situation. All right, you got Abdul Carter at 5. A lot of people have him in their top 5. Dylan, who you got at number 5 for you?
I got Walter Nolan, D tackle from Ole Miss.
Wow.
Matt Miller, he put out a prospect list on ESPN the other day. Has him as the 12th best player, 10th or 12th best player available right now. Dude's rising up, had a great Senior Bowl. His get off as the interior defensive lineman is really good. And, we've done a lot of these mocks. He's been projecting to go early 2nd round. It seems like he's going only up because it's a huge value and a huge need for a lot of teams, and you can never have enough D tackles on your team.
I don't know about that, but all right. No, I got you. All right. Walter, no, look, and here's the thing.
The Jags aren't a team with a lot of impact at D tackle.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking it to an absurd extreme. 12 is too many. Okay. Yeah. You can't have too many defensive tackles on your team. I get what you're saying. You think he's a quality player, impact player. You're going to love my mock draft tomorrow. If you like Walter Nolan as your 5th best option at number 5, you're going to love my mock. By the way, Matt Miller has Walter Nolan going pick 24 in his 2-round mock that he put out yesterday at ESPN.com to the Minnesota Vikings. Said filling gaps on both lines would be a major focus. Nolan is too great a fit to bypass here. Senior Bowl week was huge for him. Showed scouts his trademark speed and gap-splitting ability, also mixed in a dose of power that wasn't always on game tape. The Vikings could be big spenders in free agency to lock up a 3 technique, but Nolan is a plug-and-play fit if that money is diverted elsewhere. So, all right, he is a player on the rise. And, we sit here now and we go, oh, come on. We know who the 5 players are. Well, that's what we feel right now. There's 2.5 months, right? Yeah. There's a combine. There's pro days. There's nitpicking to pull these guys apart. That's going to happen, and these things will shift to some degree. For me, at number 5, Tony, I went with a guy that I have yet to mock to the Jags. I went with Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive lineman out of Texas, because I think he's one of these guys that I talked about earlier that can start out playing guard for you, probably do a pretty good job of it, and maybe is a long-range option at tackle. If not, and you just get an outstanding guard at that spot, I'm okay with it based on the Jags' needs. Right now, the need to beef up the offensive line. In Miller's mock, he went to the Bears at 10 and thought he could slot in as a starting left tackle right away. Only gave up 1 sack in 3 seasons. But because he's 6'4", he's not that typical 6'6" guy with the crazy long arms. A lot of people do project him to be a guard. So there you go. I got Kelvin Banks Jr. I'll call him offensive lineman, but with an eye towards playing him at guard initially at number 5 on my list. Dylan.
Number 4.
There we go. Let's keep the same order, Tone. Who you got at 4?
Number 4, 2, 3, 4 is very fluid for me as far as the order of these guys. But for now, as we're doing it here on February 4th, Will Campbell, offensive lineman out of LSU. His versatility is what really intrigues me. He can step in as a starting guard from day one for the team, so they should have a starting spot for him. Even if his long-term home in the NFL will wind up being offensive tackle, that's okay too. They're only committed to Walker Little and Anton Harrison for the next couple of years, in all reality. So if it is Will Campbell's the starting tackle in 2-3 years down the road, that's fine if it means he's going to be the starting guard in the short term for the football team. So I'm good with that. But again, trying to figure out the order of 2, 3, 4 was difficult for me. But at least for now, I'll put Will Campbell, offensive lineman out of LSU, at number 4.
All right, Dylan, who are you going with at 4?
I'm going to say Will Johnson, the DB out of Michigan. It feels like there's a lot more negative, things coming out about him the last week or so.
It's getting mixed.
Yeah.
I'm hearing, is he fast enough? Is he physical enough? All these things. But you're going to start to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and also he got hurt last year, which kind of affects him a little bit. But it seems like outside of Travis Hunter playing DB, Will Johnson's going to be probably the top guy as of the moment, as we said here early February. Position of need obviously for the Jags. 6'2", which, he's got the intangibles, 200 pounds, has the right size for a corner. Just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like he's probably going to be taken in the top 10 if I had to speak on that, early February for the draft in April.
You do think, or you don't think he will?
I don't think. I just feel like he's going to fall. And
he might.
Rise.
It's right. And I'm kind of like, when I'm looking at Will Johnson on these lists, I'm thinking of it as I'm based on what I know now. I'm not into his all-22 film and going, I really have him as my 13th best prospect, Tony. Yeah. He is being talked to, like you said, in terms of a standalone corner, taking Travis Hunter out of the equation, because which way is he going to play? Will Johnson seems to be the guy. In fact, Matt Miller had Will Johnson going to the Jaguars with the 5th pick in his mock.
And all the things we were just talking about, part of the commentary on him being the pick there.
In terms of the potential negatives, right? But it's also, you see him compared favorably to Pat Surtain, right, as a lockdown guy. Imagine if you had that on the back end. And Tyson Campbell, if you look at the metrics, Tyson Campbell's a pretty good corner. Is he the best of the best? No, probably not. But if you had 2 guys who are, let's say, top 15-ish corners in the National Football League, man, that would do something for your secondary for sure. You took Will Campbell, Tony. He went 7th in Miller's mock to the New York Jets, so certainly not very far off. I went with Mason Graham at number 4 for me, and in part, he was not higher because I do think, for a couple of different reasons, I think the Jags are not as desperate at defensive tackle, at least in 2025. If Eric Armstead plays there full time. I think that maybe then the move with Mason Graham being kind of your developmental 3 technique would be going for more of the run stuffing defensive tackle, where I fear Mason Graham is, if you're going to get the full benefit of him, it's as a 3 technique so he can penetrate, create some double team situations, free up some guys on the edge to rush the passer. That's the ideal. I see Miller has him mocked 4th overall to the New England Patriots. I don't think anybody would be shocked if the Jags go down the Mason Graham road.
Not at all.
At this point in time. I just feel like it's a deep position as well. In addition to that, and doing some of these 7-round mocks, you go through and you're like, man, I've already drafted 2 defensive tackles. It's like, wow, there's still some good value sitting here on the board, or what feels like good value, as much as we try to trick ourselves into thinking we're draft nicks when we do these things. But I do feel like this is a position you can address in the 2nd, maybe the 3rd, or even the 4th round, potentially. Maybe not get a Mason Graham type guy, but the Jags have more than one hole to fill. So I've got Mason Graham at 4. Won't be surprised if Tony and or Dylan both have him a little bit higher in the rankings. When we come back, we'll get to a few of yours that you've submitted today, your top 5 wish list. We'll continue the countdown with numbers 3 and 2 as we get a little bit deeper into the 2nd hour of Jaguars Today. If you want to get in, talk any aspect of Jaguar football, 641-1010, always the way to do it here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Making your sports day last a little longer.
That's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks a million.
Go into the night with Rick Ballou.
Amen, right? That's right. Yeah.
Then it's Hacker After Dark.
I know. It's amazing.
Evenings on 1010XL. Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Your new roof from Universal Roof and Contracting can help save a life. Percentage of every new roof this month will go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude's is leading the way. The world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. This promotion ends February 28th. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
If you'd like to try something different this year for Valentine's Day, you'll find great gift ideas from
Beard's Diamonds and Jacksonville Flower Market.
Find everything you need to know at 1010XL.com. Happy Valentine's Day from 1010XL.
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards. And it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Hi, I'm Kelly Franklin, Chief Executive Officer of the Betty Griffin Center. Thanks to the players for supporting our mission to help survivors of domestic and sexual violence rebuild their lives and find peace at home. It's 35 days until the players.
It all
all begins with Speed Weeks presented by Advent Health, February 12th through 16th. The Daytona 500 is sold out, but you can still win a 4-pack of tickets to all the other Speed Weeks races. What driver won the 2024 Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010. What driver won the 2024 Daytona 500? For a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Speed Weeks races, text the driver's last name to 641-1010.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about the importance of cutting a diamond properly and how it relates back to beauty and value. But how do you judge the color of a diamond?
Frank, that's an important question when it comes to diamonds. You see, a man or a woman really have no color memory. Now, you can remember basic colors like blue or red, but considering we can see thousands of slight variations of the same color, you have to have a master color to relate these two. Anybody that's ever tried to match a paint color on a wall knows exactly what I'm talking about. So we judge the color of diamonds using a set of certified master diamonds from the American Gem Society. This is the only way you can really make an accurate call on the grade because these slight variations in color from colorless to very slight yellow have huge price differences.
That's at Underwood's, where diamonds are graded accurately in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Hey, Icken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
The Electric Light Orchestra Experience featuring Evil Woman, the American ELO, a concert celebration featuring the music of the Electric Light Orchestra. It's February 5th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, apropos of absolutely nothing, Tony, I saw the Fall of Diddy 3-part series on Investigation Discovery. Horrific. I mean, not that you don't kind of have that mental idea of some of the things you heard about.
Rough. Yeah.
It's the graphic details of my gosh, man. A lot of twisted people in the world there.
No doubt.
Just a lot of twisted people in the world. But anyway, I love me some true crime. So I was going to watch it. There was no question about that. But it was stomach turning at times to listen to some of the encounters or accounts of people that allegedly had the, and to be fair, right? And I think there's a overwhelming weight of evidence that he did some bad things. But, any given accusation, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I certainly have a hard time believing that they're all making it up. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Also, the other one that I'm into now is I think I might have mentioned it last week. Paradise, the one with Sterling K. Brown. I think that's the actor from This Is Us.
Yeah.
Right. He plays a Secret Service agent.
For the former president.
Yes, to the former president. He was a guy who took a bullet for him when he was president. Then he works for him as the former president. But I'm just saying, give that one episode, just one, and don't watch anything. Don't watch any previews, any trailers. Don't investigate anything about it. Just trust me. Watch it if you like a good kind of thriller, and then tell me what your reaction is to the last 60 seconds of the first episode. Yep. I'm telling you, it just blows my mind what they did. Now, other people may be aware of what the twist is in that, but good show. So if you're looking for some stuff to watch this off season, I'm here to help you. Okay, I'm the binge master. All right, let's look at a few that we got in. Here we go. From Fish Whisperer, package that number 5 with next year's first and second and trade for Myles Garrett. Would you give the number 5 pick and your first and second next year for Myles Garrett?
Yes.
I don't think I would.
Yes.
Where are you going to play Trayvon Walker?
Figure it out.
All right, figure it out. Well,
Yeah.
you better figure it out before you give up 2 firsts and a second.
He'll play tackle for me then. I don't like if I have the opportunity to get Myles Garrett, yes.
Okay. Boy, so the beauty of having the 5th pick is now there's a degree of cost control. You're going to end up paying Myles Garrett
I know
more or as much in that first year as you would pay just that 5th pick for the length of his rookie deal.
Yeah.
And then you're giving up the 1st and 2nd next year on top of that. I mean, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If I could just add him to the team and figure it out, oh, absolutely. That's a lot of draft capital. Anyway.
But I think that's the kind of cost it's going to have. Like, I think if you're going to be the team that's going after Myles Garrett, that's the price you're going to have to pay.
And I don't think anyone's going to pay that because I think the teams like that, I think there are teams that would give up 2 firsts for Myles Garrett right now. Like Washington's been thrown out there. Hey, they got the 29th pick next year, and they think they're going to be good again next year.
You're dealing with the added complication of the team has to be willing to pull the trigger on it.
The Browns.
Right. Like, it has nothing to do with Myles at this point and him expressing that he wants to be traded. Like that, you have to pay enough that the team goes, all right, we're willing to pull the trigger on that kind of price.
Right, because what are some really late first-rounders worth compared to Myles Garrett? And those are the type teams that would feel like they're going to make that all-in push. You feel like Myles Garrett is the piece that will make you as likely to win the championship as anybody next year. It gets anybody a little bit closer to winning it, but is it enough to put you over the top? And if it's not, you got. That's why teams picking in the top 10 generally would probably not make this kind of deal.
Certainly, yeah,
because they need so much more. Jags are in an interesting spot. Do they think the roster is considerably better than the record indicated last year? I don't think they're going to be a player for Myles Garrett for the record anyway. And the Browns are saying they're not going to trade him. And thank you, Fish Whisperer, for getting us way off track here, as we specifically said no trade downs of any kind. All right, let's see here. Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Mason Graham, and Tet McMillan. That's 4, Cheech, but okay, some 4 that are repeated often. Another one with those same 4 plus Abdul Carter in there. Ashton Genty, again, making a few appearances in there. Tet McMillan, it's going to be interesting to see how the wide receiver board shakes out. Not only for, every team could have a different board, but kind of what the consensus board is. Tet McMillan right now, I think, is the consensus number 1, although Matt Miller had him ranked 1 spot behind Luther Burden among wide receivers, at 10 and 11 for Burden and McMillan. So, again, a lot of this can be subject to change before the draft rolls around. Dylan, let's pick up with the countdown.
Number 3.
Tony Smith, who you got at 3?
Number 3 for me is Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Again, the order here is a very flexible group as we get into the draft process for me, especially from 2 to 4 on my list here. But the depth at defensive tackle in this draft is what has me questioning having Graham here at 3 on my list, but I think he is almost unanimously considered the best of this year's prospects at that deep position, a position where the players on the current roster's potential impact are open questions. With Eric Armstead and Mason Smith, and the interior of the defensive line's success will have a direct impact on where the team has already invested with Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. So for those reasons, we've talked about the double kind of analogy thing with Mason Graham on top of that. That's enough to slide him into number 3 on this list today for me.
All right, so you got Mason Graham at number 3. Dylan, who do you have at 3?
Same. Mason Graham, best D tackle.
You guys are way over the top on Mason Graham. He's no higher than 4, okay?
You're funny. And I just think if he comes here, he's not going to, probably make a lot of Pro Bowls if he has a 7-8 year career here, but he's going to be pretty good. He's not going to be all Pro Bowl, but he's going to be at that not tier 1, tier 2, but right below in that tier 3, tier 4 of D tackles. A guy's probably gonna have a long NFL career. I don't think he's gonna be like Taven Bryan or
it better not be,
or give me some other guys that they've gotten the D-line the last couple of years.
Who the Jags have?
Yeah, I'm not trying to go far as back as Derek Harvey.
Well, yeah, I mean, and different positions now as well. I mean, the Jags have had plenty of misses across
Tyson
the board.
Alu was the one I can think of.
All right.
Tyson's a good
Tyson's a good player. Yeah. And where do they take him? 10?
Yeah.
Is that where they
Somewhere
took him?
in there, yeah.
I think. It's funny. Did the Jags fans inundate Pittsburgh's social media when Tyson Alualu said he'd sign in Jacksonville and then changed his mind and went to the Steelers? Because it seems somewhat similar to what Liam Cohen did, right?
Sure,
and
yeah.
Bucs fans are losing their bloody minds down there in Tampa. Good for them. Anyway,
10th overall.
if I don't boy, I gotta hope that whoever I take at number 5 is not third tier. You know what I mean? Like I expect if I'm taking you at 5 that you need to be a multi-time Pro Bowl level player. I'm not saying he gets the Pro Bowls because he plays in Jacksonville and there's that small market thing. But you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a typical draft reaction. I'm not sure that's this draft class reaction. I just don't think the top of this draft class is all that strong. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is only, of the top 10 picks, only a couple of them that even make Pro Bowls. Like that just is what this draft class feels like to me. It's why, look, we're doing today, you're sticking at 5 and you're picking a guy, right? It's kind of the reason why we're doing the mental exercise of you can't move, right? You're picking at 5. That's what you're
Forced
going to be
choose
doing.
from this field.
Right, in this thing, the better option is trade down, and I think this year's draft class makes that even more obvious. The better option is trade down, especially in this draft class. So I'm not as... I need a guy, if I take him at defensive tackle at 5, he needs to be a multiple-time Pro Bowl. I'm not quite as committed to that. I'm okay with him being the double that's going to play for me for 10 years and be a solid pro for 10 years. Like, I'm more okay with that with the options in this draft than I am in most.
All right, that's fair. So you guys have Mason Graham at 3. I had him at 4. I've got Will Campbell at 3. You had him at 4, Tone. Same kind of thing with Kelvin Banks, right? Start him at guard and eventually have a guy who you can grow right there, just like, like a sea monkey. Or I don't know. Dylan, sea monkeys. What do you know about sea monkeys?
Nothing.
All right. Look them up.
All right.
They're like little tiny like shrimp or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like almost freeze-dried shrimp that you add water and they kind of perk back to life kind of thing.
Your first pet.
Sea monkeys. That was big back when I actually read Marvel comics before there was a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
You go to like the back page, Tone, or wherever they had that whole page of goofy advertisements.
Get them in the mail.
Yeah, sea monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little pack. Just pour them in water. It's fantastic. Anyway, so for some reason I described Will Campbell as a sea monkey. Good for him. But he's got positional versatility.
Yeah.
And I do see it. And again, I'm leaning into some of these mocks in terms of how valuable these players are. Can I tell you if Will Campbell's better than Kelvin Banks? Not really, but it seems like that's where it's moving a little bit right now. If you're comparing those guys, more people have Campbell ranked higher than Banks. I consistently see, not in all of them, but consistently see enough mocks where Campbell goes 4th to the New England Patriots, who are offensive line needy, that I feel like, okay, then maybe he would be a pretty solid value at that spot. So that's who I've got at 3. Tony had him at 4. Let's get in our next one.
Number 2.
Who you got?
Number 2 for me is Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. Free agency could encourage me to shift his spot in my rankings, but as the team is put together right now before free agency and given the lack of depth in this year's wide receiver class, I have Teteroa here at number 2 for me for now. Comparisons for him are being made to T. Higgins. Wouldn't mind them landing that in free agency this year. Drake London, the other guy he's being directly compared to at this point in the draft process, and I do get all kinds of excited imagining what Liam Cohen could potentially do with the Jaguars offense, adding that kind of a tank of a talent to kind of take over the middle of the field, the short route stuff that it feels like Tet McMillan could take over. The big questions on him are deep speed. We got that. And Brian Thomas Jr., right? And having somebody else that can control the middle of the field in the pass game as less of a vertical threat than OBJ. But I think the combination of those two guys, I mean, my goodness. There's no wide receiver prospect, and they'll be ranked all over the place. Like, different teams will have different guys in different places. I can't imagine by the time we get to the end of this draft process that I have anybody close to Tet McMillan in my mind. For the Jaguars specifically, I just can't imagine that'll be in that
As a wide receiver.
Yeah.
As a pure wide receiver.
Yeah.
Which leaves open the question of who you have at number 1.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I don't have Tet McMillan in my top 5. And part of it is, like, it's recency bias. One of the last things Matt Miller told us is that none of these receivers would have been ranked in the top 20 last year. And I get it that other guys are going to get pushed up the draft in a weak class, and it's not a great class at wide receiver. this is me in my headspace right now. Kirk's on the team. Evan Ingram's back. Obviously, you got a rising star. I love the idea of T. Higgins. T. Higgins throw you $100 million for 3 years. Okay. And then after the first 2, that's when we're extending Brian Thomas Jr. after his first 3 years in the league.
Right.
And we're managing his first year cap hit. And then T. Higgins will be in the last year of his deal. And somewhere in the next couple of years, we draft his eventual replacement. And we've got to just add water kind of.
And then I wouldn't have Ted McMillan it too.
No, I got you.
Right.
Right?
Like that's the flexibility there with that.
And it does like a little bit. I'm again, if I went like 7 deep, I'm sure he'd be on my list.
Sure.
But not 100% sold on him yet. I could certainly come around like gangbusters. Dylan, who do you have at 2?
Number 2, Travis Hunter, DB/receiver, Colorado. 8 games this year with over 100 yards receiving, and he had a game with 99. So I think 99 and 100 yards are the same. 9 games.
Math.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
These kids.
Playmaker. I mean, the game he had against Baylor, when he forced the fumble in overtime, like the most impressive thing about Travis Hunter to me is he's had all these games this past season where he had over 100 snap count, 100 plays, and he's still like there's no drop off in the fourth quarter. Like there's none whatsoever, and he's still performing at a high level on both sides of the ball. And I think I've said this over and over again. I think he's going to play DB, not receiver. I think he's going to play sparingly at receiver, and he played more DB. If you look at the snap count this past season, more at DB than receiver. And he also plays special teams, too, which hasn't been talked about.
All right, so you got Travis Hunter at 2, and you're looking at playing him as a defensive back, and that's certainly fine and justifiable. I went with another corner. I went with Will Johnson at that spot. And, again, I am basing this on what the pundits are saying, that outside of Travis Hunter, and maybe even including him, he's the best pure corner in the draft. He's got good size, has been compared favorably to Pat Surtain Jr. At times. There are question marks about him, and this may look silly a month from now, right? After we start to get more info on some of these guys and how people are looking at him. He did have the foot injury. He's got a lot of things that you're going to have to sort through, but my idea here is I'm drafting him, and he's a day one starter in my defensive backfield, and hopefully for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a plug and play, and I don't have to worry about it at a position that is crucial in the NFL, in today's NFL. I think it's pretty important for the Jacksonville Jaguars as well, figuring out who that number 2 outside guy is going to be. Could they go with Jarian Jones playing outside more and come up with a nickel somewhere? Sure, they could. But in this scenario, if all the medicals turn out clean, I mean, it's February 4th, for goodness sakes. That's who I've got.
Free agency can change a lot of this discussion.
No doubt. Right. And look, let's keep these lists and look back. This is how we felt on February 4th. Maybe we'll do this one a month from now, and then another month after that, as we're 2 weeks out from the NFL draft, and it will probably change drastically over that point in time. All right, we'll come back, look at a few more of your top 5s that you submitted, and I don't think Tony and I are going to surprise you a whole lot with our number 1 guy.
Not.
But Dylan might, because he had Travis Hunter at number 2, so we'll see who he's got at the number 1 spot on his list. Looking at your top 5 wish list for the number 5 pick in the draft. No trade backs allowed. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Look, I've been vouching for these guys for a decade now. Proud of my association with a local family business. They make great products, and I was a customer long before they ever came on board, long before 1010XL ever existed. I've been a customer going back to my college days with Dandy. That's right. Even my college days are covered in Dandy's long, illustrious history here on the First Coast. Nearly 70 years as a Jacksonville-based company, simply putting out a great, delicious, wholesome product for you. And I say product, it's products. You can go into an area gate station, head to their fresh case, and maybe find over 30 different Dandy and Anytime Deli varieties for you, from sandwiches and subs to protein packs to breakfast sliders to light lunchtime wraps to fruit cups and veggie trays, you name it. A little something for everybody's taste, made with the highest quality ingredients, locally sourced right here in Jacksonville. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
6th-ranked Florida takes another step closer to their 3rd national championship against Vanderbilt. Gators Commodores, tonight at 7 on 1010 AM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
Upgrade your home with the winning combination of style and performance from Renewal by Anderson. Energy efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires February 28th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613. Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
The Florida Forum Speaker Series welcomes novelist and journalist Carl Hiaasen February 12th. For your chance to win tickets, text FORUM to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
What's the major difference between a crocodile and an alligator? The answer next.
Lightning, storms, and hurricane winds can ruin recent home improvements. Let Southern Oak Insurance review your policy today. Visit us online at southernoakins.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
While an alligator will see you later, a crocodile will see you after a while.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can stand, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can stand, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Don't miss the big game specials at Southern Steer Butcher. Check out our website for the big game snack attack, party combo, sampler combo, and the best buffalo dip you've ever had.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
The Florida Forum welcomes best-selling author and journalist Carl Hiaasen February 12th. Funds raised go to a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wilson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, cooling it down here. Several have asked me. They missed the name of the show. I was talking about the what I described as a thriller. They describe it as a thriller. I would agree. It's called Paradise. I'm watching it on Hulu. It may be available at other locales. So a few people asked what show was that I was mentioning. So hopefully you're listening now. And that would be Paradise on Hulu. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I think a new episode came out today. They put 3 out last week. Just to get the ball rolling. I don't know how many episodes in the full season. Let's see. A few others on the text line, Tony, that caught my eye. Cleveland won 3 games with Myles Garrett. So, in other words, how much value could he bring? Obviously, look, Saquon Barkley was Saquon Barkley, but then he got to Philadelphia with the right pieces around him, and that's part of the equation. If you're a team that plays with a bunch of leads and you can unleash Myles Garrett to do nothing but hunt quarterbacks, you probably have a lot of success with him. Is Spencer Whipple Mark Whipple's son? Yes. So Spencer Whipple's the new quarterbacks coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's see. I'm with Tony. Allen and Walker are Jags good. Give me the Hall of Fame guy all day. We'd make it work, but I hear what you're saying, Mike, on the other side of that. I'm glad you hear it. That means our microphones are working. We appreciate that. Let's see. I had one here. What the heck? I hope I can find it here real quick, Tone. They're basically, here we go. I know I'm wasting your space because I'm not turning in my 5. You're not wasting our space. There's unlimited space on the text line, okay? I don't watch college football because of the individual players, so I wouldn't know who to put where, but we could use a real good corner, offensive line, of course, defensive lineman. I think we have plenty of receivers and running backs to get the job done. If we take care of those other positions, we can always get more skilled offensive players next year. Yes and no. Right? I mean, I would think it's fair to say that depending on what they do to potentially adjust his contract, even if Christian Kirk is back, is he back beyond this season? Is Evan Ingram back beyond this season? He's only got 1 year left on his deal. So in terms of pass catchers, it's not a great, from what we've been told, wide receiver group that you might be better off going early to get one. Otherwise, there may not be many difference makers. Running back could be a different story, Tone. I mean, we're talking about, they're saying, 25 draftable running backs, and usually you get like 20 backs drafted. There are going to be some good undrafted free agent running backs out there, but you may get a guy that could come in and start for you right away. I'm not saying the Jags have to have that, but if they wanted a guy that projected as a future starter that could come in and play a role this year, those guys should be available in the 3rd, 4th round easily based on what we're seeing with some of these projections out there. So what else here? I think I've covered most of what I've seen coming in. Somebody just texted their top 5. McMillan at 1, Tet McMillan. Travis Hunter at 2. Tyler Warren, the tight end, at 3. Mason Graham at 4. And Abdul Carter at 5. All right, let's recap our 5s and give you number 1 on the list. Dylan.
Number 1.
Tony Smith.
Number 5 for me, Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. Number 4, Will Campbell, offensive lineman, LSU. Number 3, Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan. Number 2, Tetaroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Number 1 for me, Travis Hunter, cornerback, wide receiver, whatever you want to call him, out of Colorado.
Weapon.
So, yeah. And to give you an idea of weapon, right, exactly how the eval is going, I'm looking at Lance Zierlein's prospect ranking, right? His little write-up on all these guys on NFL.com right now. His NFL comparison, he does do an offensive and defensive comparison for him. He's got Devontae Smith and Darius Slay. That's the 2 guys that he's got him comparing him to. I saw somewhere else that
both
had
starters in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, and I saw somewhere else that Patrick Peterson was the cornerback, the comparison that he was getting in that spot. And then at the end of this thing, they have a sources tell us section, right? Which This is wild, considering we don't know exactly what he's going to be asked to do. You don't play a guy full-time at receiver and then part-time at cornerback. He's a lot more valuable as a corner who plays 8 to 10 snaps a game at wide receiver. That's an AFC executive. He's the best receiver in this class, and then there's a big drop-off. He's comparable to last year's big three of Neighbors, Harrison, and Odunze, in my opinion. Yeah, I know.
Excuse me.
NFC
Brian
personnel.
Thomas Jr. and 2 other names.
Sure, NFC personnel director. Is there when's the last time we had a prospect that's being talked about like that? Right? Like, it's just such a unique, special kind of prospect going into a draft process. I don't know what exactly he's going to be asked to do. My gut tells me corner is where he'd be more valuable for whatever team is going to wind up drafting him. And if the Jags drafted him, I hope that's where he winds up being, as primarily a corner that we use on offense a little bit. Like,
is he more valuable at corner? Is that because you think he's a better corner than receiver? Or, like, to me, if you had 2 Pro Bowlers, give me the Pro Bowl receiver over the Pro Bowl corner.
I think that the comparisons I'm seeing with him at corner are much more what I would want.
Okay.
Right. Like, I would much more want the Patrick Peterson playing corner than I would Devontae Smith playing wide receiver.
If that's truly
the kind of the ceiling of what they're going to be at those spots, I think that I would prefer kind of the corner upside for where his potential could take him. I think.
But if you thought they were equally valid, that he could become a superstar at either position,
wide receiver has more value in the NFL. Yeah. Like, if he's going to be a superstar at one or the other, I think
we don't know that.
I think when you're getting compared to specifically the guys we're talking about here, Peterson or Slay, that's more superstars at corner, right? Like, that's more that kind of range than Devontae Smith is at wide receiver, right? Like, he's a really good player at wide receiver in the league, but he's not superstar level. And I think if you're talking about he can become among the handful of the best corners in the league, I think that would have more value, but I think that's really hard to know at this point in time what exactly that's going to be, and it's part of what makes the Hunter thing special, is that he could be that.
I think you're going to have 10 teams in the league that are convinced he's much better corner, 10 that convince he's much better at wide receiver, and maybe 12 that don't know.
I'd be stunned if we didn't.
Right? I mean, and so I'm going to jump the line here, Dylan. We'll get back to you in a second, because I also had Travis Hunter at 1. I had Kelvin Banks at 5. I had Mason Graham at 4, Will Campbell at 3, Will Johnson at 2, and Travis Hunter at 1. Tony, the idea, like, if he could be that I'm not going to limit him right out of the gates. Like, is it likely that he can play full-time both ways? No. But also, we would have said, is it likely a guy could play as many snaps as he did for a major college program in today's NFL, playing as many games as he did? No. The answer would be. So he is an exception to the rule already. So perhaps he can be. If he really is the best receiver or the best corner in the class, I think he's worthy of that pick either way. And it's kind of nice, the idea of the Jags having a built-in superstar joining the team, or at least a potential superstar. The guy was the Heisman winner. He put up historic numbers when you consider the amount of snaps and the production on both sides of the ball. And while it makes more sense to me, like you're saying, play him at corner, let him dabble at wide receiver, we're hearing more and more of these draft pundits say, no. He's going to be a wide receiver, or he would be better as a wide receiver. So that, to me, indicates that he's got, like, high-end number 1 player in the draft talent potentially at both spots. Jags could use either spot, by the way. And I love the idea of, in a given week, you have no idea what the game plan is going to be when you face the Jaguars and how they're going to utilize this guy. Now, I'm not saying you're going to throw everything on his plate as a rookie, but you get him for more than 1 year. So I'm with you. I got Travis Hunter at my number 1 spot on my wish list. Granted, don't expect him to be available.
No.
Right? And I did not put Abdul Carter in there because, again, if I'm taking a guy at 5, I want him to be able to walk in and take a starting spot, and I'm not sure that the Jags have that available. Or if they do, what the repercussions are then for a Trayvon Walker or a Josh Allen, and how does that all play out, and you're getting the most bang for your buck? Maybe you will be. Okay, I don't have him there. Dylan, who's number 1 in your list?
Abdul Carter.
Well, there you go.
I think he's the best player in the draft. My 5-2 was Walter Nolan 5, Will Johnson 4, 3 Mason Graham, 2 Travis Hunter. I think the best player in the draft is Abdul Carter. I think we're going to look in about 10, 12, 15 years. This is going to be the Abdul Carter draft. Matt Miller said that he's the best player in this draft. He did a hit on SportsCenter this morning and said that. I understand that it's already filled here in Jacksonville, but it's just one of those things where you have a game wrecker like Abdul Carter. It's hard to pass that up. Like, I don't know how you don't pass that up. And a defensive line, it's one of those things like Tony said earlier. It's like you just have to figure it out somehow. You have to find a way to put him in and say, okay, you're going to be edge or you're going to be whatever. We're going to figure this out because we have 3 really good D linemen. And then move on from there.
And that's fine. Look, you're not going to be in the minority necessarily. I mean, everyone's going to have him in the top 5 except me, apparently.
It's the situation. It's if you're picking at 5 and he's still there, it's because a bunch of the guys I just mentioned went. Right? Like, I think
or at
that's
least a couple of them.
Right. Like, that's the scenario is the other guys that I would be considering ahead of him have gone. And I'm with you, Dylan. I think if he's available still when you're picking 5th, it's because he's probably pretty clearly the best player left available to you in the draft. So you do have to figure something out, especially at a position that is as much a premium as Abdul Carter's position is.
All right. With that said, we are done putting out our top 5s for today. So let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, Taylor Dahl, what is up? How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
We're fine because we have no consequences to our wish list of draft picks that we put out on February 4th.
Just having a good time right now.
Yeah, no, and, we always say, we'll circle back to this. We never do. It's with the best of intentions. And,
yes.
I'm not a guy who pores over film, but I watch college football and I have my opinions, and everyone else does.
And you know the positional needs and positional values. Like,
it's not that
a say in that.
crazy. And like, it's the ones that get me. It's like plenty of people reply, and I saw it today. I'll just use these 2 names as an example: Abdul Carter, or else what are we doing?
Yeah.
Or if it's not Will Campbell, then we're idiots. I mean, like, so everyone wants to fixate on one guy. I feel like they're going to be a half dozen directions the Jags could go.
And also once free agency happens, we've seen this in previous years, that alters very quickly some of the things that you do. And that's what is fun about this time of year, Mike, because we are still so in the like, all right, I mean, there are several holes that you need. We don't even know who the general manager is at this point. And once you know the GM, then you do know a little bit more of the type of players they like and maybe the direction they've gone in at different times. So all of that in the next month is going to change drastically. So you guys might in a month have a completely different 5 people on your list.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get GM news hopefully pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jaguars, according to Adam Schefter just a few minutes ago, requested permission to interview Rams director of scouting, James Gladstone. So add him. Now we've got like 7 candidates out there. And again, a poor guy. He may be the smartest guy in the world. Anyone but Ethan Wall. Right? Like, can we? I mean, it just for the fan base's sanity, and there are plenty of there's so many good candidates out there. Let's have a break from the past and a clean
You have to,
slate.
I feel like. And I know in that presser with Shad, and they talked about the clean slate, and he was kind of like, what does that mean? This is what it means.
This is what it means, Shad. Like, here it is, all right?
Just to let you know.
As far as I know, the medical people are still employed. Imagine
we
that.
still have a good medical staff.
Still do. All right, what's coming up on the program today?
Yeah, we are going to talk a little bit about Tony Boselli. Obviously, he was on the drill earlier, so we're going to go over some of that sound that he was on there. We are also going to get into the Super Bowl. I feel like we've barely talked about the Super Bowl on Helmets and Heels because of coaching hirings and other things going on and general manager hirings. And so we haven't really got to talk much about the game, and it's this Sunday. So we are going to break down our top 5 players outside of Patrick Mahomes. Who would we like to have on the Jaguars if we could select those 5 today of players that will be playing on Sunday?
Yes, we would.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes.
That's pretty much what Lauren said too. But yeah, so our top 5 is that today. So we'll get into that, and we also have our highlights, so go over some fun stuff that's been happening last week.
Would you rather have Saquon or Trey Smith?
Yeah, I know. I know. Yes, Mike.
Yes, please. All the players. All right. Have a great show, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. The Helmets and Heels coming your way. And then it'll be XL Primetime and on into the afternoon. Tomorrow, Tony Pauline from Sportskeeda talking draft with us. If you want to play along with Mock Draft Wednesday, just go to ProFootballNetwork.com, use their mock draft simulator or any other mock draft simulator that you like. Screenshot your results and send them to us on the text line via the X platform, whatever you like. And we'll share some of those tomorrow as we roll through what we did in our latest edition of our 7-round mock. I think our 4th edition, 4.0, Tone, is where we're at on that. All right, that'll do it for us. For Tony Smith, for Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around for Helmets and Heels. Jaguars Today returns tomorrow on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.